It's time to finally wake up and understand what a 401k is and if it's the right way to invest your hard-earned money. By definition, a 401k is a type of retirement plan which, in most cases, the company you work for matches a certain amount of your investment. What is matching? Well, this is a guarantee from your employer that states they will put a certain amount of their own money into the retirement plan based on how much you contribute yourself. The most common type of matching is when your employer matches dollar for dollar up to a certain percent of income. For example, many employers will match all contributions made into the 401k up to, let's say, 8% of income earned. Say you earn $50,000 a year and your employer matches 100% or dollar for dollar up to 8%. This means your employer will match or also invest whatever you did until you reach that 8% of your income. In this case, if you take full advantage of the match, you would put in $4,000 a year and your employer would also place an additional $4,000 into your account. In summary, if my employer matched 8%, I would be a pretty happy man. There is an infinite amount of options your employer can structure the 401k plan to. Some other types are matching 50 cents on the dollar, 50%, or a structured plan that will match 6%. However, only match the first 3% of your income fully, and then 50 cents on the dollar of the next 3%. Some plans even require you to put a certain amount before they'll match, so make sure you check with your employer what type of plan you have before investing. The industry average for matching is 3% of total income, but even this is not required by the IRS, but instead a benefit to work for the company. Today, there are about 7 different types of 401k. These are the traditional, safe harbor, simple, solo, Roth, profit sharing, and 403b for tax-exempt organizations. We're going to focus on the main 2 types in this video and the similarities and differences between them, the traditional and the Roth 401k. The traditional 401k came into place around 1980, when consultant Ted Benna was researching ways to design more tax-friendly retirement programs for a client. Then, in 2001, the Roth 401k was created after the recession to give investors a chance to save for retirement with after-tax money. Let's get crazy and compare and contrast the two. Starting with the traditional, the max contribution is $19,000 per year if you're under 50 years old, or $25,000 a year if you're older than 50, in 2019 at least. You are taxed when you take the money out at whatever the tax rate is at the future date and in the future tax bracket. There's a 10% penalty if you withdraw your money early before you reach 59.5 years old. And you must start taking the required minimum distribution when you reach 72 years old. Next, let's look at the Roth 401k. Here, the max amount you can invest a year is much smaller, at $5,500 a year if under 50 years old, and $6,500 if you're 50 or older. You are taxed when originally deposited and not when you take the money out, and it's not deductible from that year's taxes. You can withdraw the money you put in whenever you want as it was already taxed. However, any earnings will be taxed or penalized unless you meet one of the following conditions. There's also no minimum age that you have to take the contributions out. You can let the account grow tax-free as long as you want. It's important to remember that both the traditional and Roth 401k are great options. In general, it is said that if you expect to make more money later in your career, go with the Roth 401k as you'll likely pay less in taxes. But if you expect to make more money earlier in your career, the traditional is the better option. There's of course many other variables that go into this, which we are getting to, and it could be a good idea to invest in some of each. A benefit of the traditional 401k is the tax benefits of contributing. You fund your traditional 401k with pre-tax dollars, meaning whatever you put into your 401k is subtracted from your income before taxes are taken out. That means that if you fund a 401k, you lower the amount of income you have to pay taxes on, which can soften the blow to your take-home pay. For example, if you put $100 in your 401k each month, your paychecks might only get smaller by about $70 to $80 per month, even though you're contributing the full $100. So if you make a small contribution to your 401k, or increase your contribution by a percentage, you may hardly notice the difference in paychecks, and you will pay less taxes. You may even pay a significant amount less if this difference puts you in a lower tax bracket. Before the 401k, employers typically used a pension. These required employers themselves to manage the investing and payment system where employees would put aside a certain amount of money a month. A 401k is seen as a better alternative to employers as it does not define or guarantee a set payout at retirement, as the employee themselves choose their investment. While your employer chooses the provider of the 401k, they don't actually choose what you're investing in. The providers are names you may have heard of before, such as Vanguard or Fidelity, and many more. These providers create investment portfolios trying to make the best return and beat out inflation. They are all very similar but have different management fees and portfolios depending on the nature of your business. Most companies show the 3 upfront options of conservative, moderate, and risky options with about 7 different portfolio options on average. The conservative option includes the highest percentage of cash bonds, an instrument that represents a loan, both of which are almost guaranteed returns. The aggressive option is the highest percentage of stocks and a low percentage of cash and bonds. It has the highest volatility but the highest chance of growth given enough time. Then, the moderate option is usually a mix of aggressive and conservation funds. A strategy many 401k investors follow is the aggressive strategy when younger, then switching to a more conservative plan closer to retirement to ensure savings. Over a short period of time, stocks can be volatile, but over longer periods, they're showing much better returns. Over the last century, the average stock market return is about 10%, while some years are much more and some are less. Over a career since the inception of a 401k, the aggressive option has consistently outpaced the other options. Now, let's take a look at some of the negatives of the 401k. Since the portfolios in your 401k are managed by financial institutions, there are certain fees you pay with the money you put in. While 95% of participants in a 401k do pay some type of fee, 37% of people believe they are not paying fees. The majority of these fees are investment fees for actively managed funds, but other fees are plan administration fees and individual service fees. The average worker starting a 401k at 25 will pay about $138,336 in fees over their lifetime. Another downfall of the 401k is the previously mentioned of 7 average options. While these can be great, they limit the opportunities you have to invest. If you'd like to invest in real estate or cryptocurrency with your 401k, this might not be possible. Now that you know all of this, let's talk about the option of an IRA, which can give you more flexibility. An IRA allows you to choose where you invest your money. Now that you know how, the benefit of an IRA over investing in individual locations is it's also tax deductible. One final note about the 401k you need to know is when that money is actually yours. Any money you contribute is of course 100% yours. However, the funds your company matches is usually vested over time, usually 25% or 33% per year. When you are fully vested, then you can take the entire company match with you when you part ways with your job. If you're not fully vested, you may not get to keep the total match. At times, employers will allow you to transfer the complete 401k over, but always make sure beforehand. While the 401k is a good choice if your employer matches an amount, just be wary about the other opportunities out there. Once you know how to invest your money yourself, you may want to seek other options where you manage your own money without paying management fees. Of course, you'll need to beat the returns of your 401k by a considerable amount for this to make any sense. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comment section about your thoughts or any tips you can share with others.